Hey everybody, welcome back to Play a Casket. These are your hosts, Paraka the Goblin.
And Ghost your co-host.
And today we will be talking about kind of like a retrospective of Metroid as a series.
Episode 26, the Chozo One.
So, basically, like we're not going to go into the full detail, just more of like personal opinions on it. First, I would like probably go ahead and let you take the wheel first, since you're more of a huge fan of the whole series as I am.
Okay, well, I'm so happy that we got Metroid Dread, and then we're getting Prime 4. Yeah! After, it's been such a drought, and then on top of that too, Dread boosts the sales for the Wii U, for Fusion and Zero Mission.
And he also boosted the sales for the 3DS and stuff as well.
Yeah, so that's freaking awesome. But I think the first time I ever seen Samus, I guess like I got into it through Super Smash Brothers. So that's like a huge Super Smash is like this, you're a huge billboard, and yeah, I just picked up Samus because I didn't know who she was. Thought it was a he. Everybody did, but. It was the first introduction to Metroid after reading through all the lore, so it got me kind of interested. But what really got me interested was Metroid Prime was my first kind of official try at Metroid. So, what about you?
Actually, it was kind of like a give and take. For me, my first one was actually Super Metroid, but it was actually kind of forced upon me by my other friends. It's one of those like, I can't believe you haven't played this type of thing. And at the time, I was more into like RPGs, so I didn't really care much.
Okay.
Like it's whatever, right? And like they eventually forced me to play. I didn't really like. I didn't care. I was like, oh, that's neat. This is kind of interesting, but there isn't this epic story. I felt like, right? It just felt like kind of like a puzzly game and all that. It didn't click until much later. And it's actually kind of one of my better memories is, for me, it was after getting into like the Game Boy Advance games of Castlevania, which I played immensely. But then I played Metroid Prime, and I didn't like those. Like, I didn't like it at all. But then I started remembering that Castlevania was very similar to Metroid, and literally went all the way back to Super Metroid and started really having a better appreciation of it. And mind you, even when I was forced upon it, right?
Yeah.
Like before the first Smash Brothers even came out, I already knew she was a girl.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I watched them play to the endings. I watched them, like, they wanted to show me the elite endings and stuff like that. So I knew, I was like, wait, Samus is a girl? I thought just Samus was a robot.
Oh, okay.
That's all I thought it was. Like, I thought
Yeah,
it was
I
a
think everybody thought
giant
too.
mech.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, my original impression was that it was a giant mech.
Oh, okay.
That was it. Like, Samus meant something in, like, some kind of, like, mech format or whatever. But eventually I was like, oh, okay, so she's a girl. Like, okay, you know? Like, it wasn't a huge thing for me because it wasn't like I thought it was a boy and it was, like, a completely curveball. Like, oh, well, I guess it makes sense if it's a robot. Like, I thought it was a huge fucking mech.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm like, oh, I was way off. And it's just, like, whatever. So, before Smash Brothers even like started doing a lot of stuff with Samus and stuff. I remember a lot of people talking about that Samus didn't appear in another game before the first Smash Brothers for this many years, and they were, just chalking all up, all like this whole big to do about it, and like maybe we'll see it on the 64 and all this stuff. And it never happened.
Did they ever have anything for the 64?
No,
for Metroid?
they didn't even have anything planned.
Dang it.
There was always a conversation that was happening, but they never had anything planned.
Oh, okay.
So for me, my best memory was actually returning to Super Metroid after Prime and being absolutely disappointed with the Prime series. Like,
Okay.
I do not like Prime at all.
I love the Prime series.
I hate Prime.
I love Prime.
I hate the fact
I love
that everybody only wants Retro Studios to
I
be
hate that
Prime
you hate it.
Studios.
I
I
hate you
hate
should
you
love
that
it.
you hate it. But going back, I started appreciating more of the 2D type of side-scrolly Metroidvania style games.
Yeah.
That's when I like, and Metroid, it isn't my favorite Metroidvania type style game, but it's up there. Super
Okay.
Metroid is still up there. A lot of them are probably going to end up being Castlevania, just because that's kind of where I come from with it.
Yeah.
And it all like all of them are going to probably be Game Boy Advance ones.
Yeah.
Because that's where I played a lot of them. So they were my favorites.
What is it? I barely remember Zero.
Your best memory?
Zero
You
Mission?
barely remember that?
Well, Fusion was my favorite one. Fusion, because I rarely got lost, and it was more dense with what they had to deal with. So it was really nice because you weren't constantly getting lost all the time. And then I played a little bit of Zero Mission on the GBA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got lost a lot on that one. I was just wandering around until something happens. But the infinite ball jump was really nice. I got everywhere and got to a bunch of places that I shouldn't have. But Fusion was still the best one, just because it told you where to go, and then you would. It's really dense too, because you can find all the. I think I got 100%. It's the first time I played it too, because of just how dense it was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Fusion still the favorite one. I kind of wish the team would come back and do it, but yeah, Dread was really good too. I just beat Dread, 10 hours. Everybody could laugh at my time, but
I'm probably going to be longer, namely because I'm more of a curious about things.
yeah,
So I tend to like learn everything as I go. So I'm just like firing on all the random walls everywhere and making sure every secret's found by the time, or at least most of the secrets are found by the time I'm done with the game.
yeah,
A lot of the Castlevanias I did that with too.
Okay.
So it's habitual for me. So I'm probably gonna have a good 10, 12, maybe even 15 hours just dorking off against every wall out there. I have not played it yet, but probably by the time this is uploaded, I have.
okay.
So we'll hope for it, right?
But
But
one thing I do kind of have a disappointment about is screw attack kills everything. You'll see what I mean.
for Dread,
Yeah.
keeping that in mind. But yeah, no, that's my experience on that. What about your worst experience?
Getting lost.
Well, like with what type of game? What's one of the ones where like fuck this particular Metroid?
Everybody's gonna hate me for this. Super Metroid.
Why couldn't Metroid crawl?
Why can't Halo turn into Morph Ball? Yeah.
But no, why is that the case? What made you lost a lot?
Well, it's just because I can't get the what is it, the gravity suit right now, so I'm just stuck underwater and I can't jump out, and then I don't want to backtrack because I'm gonna get lost again. But I was watching somebody play it, and I was playing it screen by screen, so I would know where to go.
Prima strategy guide.
And I would bust my balls, but whatever. But it's easy to get lost, and I don't know. I like it, but I still wish there was something. Like, I wish there was a better tracker to find out where you're at, or to tell you where to go. Basically, I guess because I played out of order too, that I like Fusion a lot better because I played everything out of order. So
maybe some say that getting lost is part of the fun. Well, as much as they're going to try to bust your balls, I think they're going to probably turn against me, because some of my worst experiences is just Prime existing as a series, like forever and a day. The game felt very isolated, but people keep saying that, oh, that's a good thing. No,
I like that.
I'm not
actually.
talking about the atmosphere. I'm talking about the mechanics. You're isolated to these mechanics, and you're not allowed to really mess with them unless you want to break the game. And then on top of that, then you got 2 comes in and goes, by the way, you have a bunch of characters you're supposed to be connected to.
You mean 3?
3, yes.
3, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care about any of these.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They
all become bosses anyways.
So like it's stupid. Like,
Yeah.
you're supposed to like, hey, remember me, guys? No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Oh,
It's stupid. And then on top of that, you are basically jerry-rigged and connected to just the weird mechanic in each one of the games. Like the dark light game in 3.
Yeah, I hated
all
that though.
Like,
Actually, I didn't like that.
every single one of these games have some kind of unique gimmick that you're kind of like just rigged to. And
Yeah,
you
it's
have
like,
to use those things. It's not just it feels satisfying to use them. You have to use them. You're forced to use them all the time.
yeah, and Prime 2 with the dark and light portal with the dark and light portals. Whenever you see them, you're just like, oh boy, I wonder what this is gonna do. Yeah,
Yeah. So and then on top of that, the community, the fact that they're like, oh, we absolutely need everything from Retro Studios to be Prime now because they only made 2 Donkey Kong games and people were furious about them even doing one without going back to Metroid Prime.
yeah.
And it drastically upsets me.
Oh, okay.
And it is like the worst of the series, period. And will continue being worst. It is worse than Other M. Yeah, there, I said it. It's worse than Pinball. Pinball should be canon. Prime should not.
Well, didn't the director come out and say everything is canon? So
Pinball is
shit.
canon. But the thing is, like mechanically, like like the general overall mechanics that overarch them, they're fine.
Yeah.
Like I enjoyed Hunters for a bit for multiplayer aspects, but for the most part, it ran aground for a while.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it wasn't all there. It was like trying to play Doom multiplayer. Nobody plays Doom multiplayer.
Yeah.
Even after Eternal just came out, somebody played like maybe 12 hours of Doom Eternal's multiplayer, and then nobody has ever touched it since.
No, okay.
So it's one of those games. So yeah, that's that. I said that. I am not looking forward to Metroid Prime 4 ever.
I want it. I'm gonna get it.
What? So now that we talked about our worst memories, what do we think is going to happen in the future?
I don't know. I like to see more spin-offs though, for sure. Although now that we don't have like the little console, maybe because most Nintendo would have the main console and they'll have their portable handheld. We won't see much spin-offs, but I would like to see another pinball, and then if not, maybe a mobile game.
Well, let me appeal to that. They do have mobile gaming, right? So they could do a mobile game, but look at also. Let me appeal to this. They also have made collaborations with some small indie studios to make some games. We've had Cadence of Hyrule, the people who made Crypt of the Necrodancer. Do you think that possibly they'll probably do something like that with another company, such as Way Forward?
Okay.
Not making a new Metroid 2D game, just making an interesting spin-off of some kind using Way Forward's expertise in experimental type gaming, because outside Shantae, they do a lot of oddballs.
Yeah. I really don't know actually. well, one thing I was thinking about just for a mobile game is if they do want to explore more of the Metroid universe and try to like branch out, because I remember the Federation Force they try to push a bigger universe, but I don't know. I guess not much people were interested in Federation Force. I guess they would just want more. Seamless.
Hunters was kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty cool though. I think most of the designs.
I think they were kind of onto something. I think they could use like something of Federation Force with a baseline of what Hunter characters were.
Yeah. And
kind of cover that maybe in some unique way. Again, like I'm just using Way Forward as an example to make some kind of I wouldn't say a beat 'em up per se, but more like a game that's very actiony. Okay. Involving one of the other characters, maybe over the shoulder type of thing.
One thing I thought was really cool too is if you played the Space Pirates and you're a bunch of bastards and you go out and conquer worlds.
That would be cool, but I don't think Nintendo's down with that type of stuff because if you notice, they never make games that
glorify the bad guys.
Yeah, hyper glorify villainy.
But what about Bowser? Or you never get a chance to play Bowser, do you?
Well, you do play Bowser, but you often you also get Bowser in a different series.
Yeah.
Like Bowser.
Or he never had his own franchise, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
He never had his own franchise.
No. He was always a side character, and even then, there was always times where you're appealed to help him.
Yeah.
Like even in Paper Mario.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what about the Wario then?
Wario's a different odd case too, because they don't glorify his villainy too much either. Like it's
Yeah.
his greed, and then they started making WarioWare games
Where he's more goofy.
where he's just trying to capitalize on stuff.
Yeah.
He has greed because he's capitalized on all the things he's done.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't necessarily a bad guy per se.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of like a King DDD in Mario.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, pinball, that'd be cool.
I'm open to some like new ideas, but like I'm also okay with them like trying to port some of these old ideas out to see how they react now. Like if they did a Federation Force and pinball and stuff, see what type of like the way people play those games, see if they enjoy them and stuff, and then kind of elaborate on it. I wouldn't mind having a Metroid pinball game that kind of has tables based on every planet she's been to.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. But as far as like the future, and far as like storytelling, I think with Dread, we're probably going to start seeing more Chozo related stuff.
Yeah.
And with a connection in some way, like as if like the Fed Force was knew about it and they're hiding it from Samus or something to that point. I could see the connection between the two for some nefarious means, meaning that like the Federation Force might not actually be as on the up and up as we would think, which would make sense in general.
Well, I mean, in Fusion they've been really sketchy too. So
yeah, so I'm seeing that. I'm seeing them trying to expand on the idea of the Chozo and trying to tell more about the Chozo by using like these pocket clans that are still surviving.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where they're going now, which will help more talk about how they came to making the Metroids.
Okay, but going back to seeing Prime Hunters 2 and just seeing Prime 4 coming out, I'm really excited. I'm curious to what else they're gonna add.
I would, as far as Prime 4 goes, I think they're probably going to focus more on just the campaign itself, namely because of the development cost that's probably been going on for it.
Okay.
I do think Dread's going to make a lot of money. I think a lot of people are super excited for Dread. I do think it's going to be one of the best-selling Metroid games to date.
Yeah, that parry mechanic
even
made everything so freaking nice. Though I love that. Parry.
It's satisfying too.
Yeah.
I would even go to say that it's probably going to be the number one selling one, like the most selling Metroid ever.
Yeah.
As many people will probably say, "Oh, but this is better. This is better." That's fine, but even if Super Metroid's still the better Metroid, not many people bought it at that time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder to kind of gauge that. Right?
I'm curious what Dread 2 is going to be because they made so much money. They got a demo out now, did they? Yeah. Because of how well it did, or was just
it was just a demo that was just kind of delayed. They wanted to put it out, but I just didn't have the time, so they just released it on Halloween. But I do think Metroid Prime 4 will sell quite a bit too. I do not think it's going to reach the levels that Dread has.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna struggle to get to those numbers. I think Dread's gonna just dominate.
Yeah.
As far as a series, but whether or not it's gonna sell enough to really make Metroid one of those flagship titles, I don't know. I think Dread has a lot of momentum behind it. I think Dread's really gonna be iconic to the Switch and Nintendo, but I don't know what's gonna happen with Prime 4.
DLC. I want DLC.
No. We're not renting chunks of game. Bad. Sit in your seat. Stay in your lane.
I want my Metroid.
I'm just honestly, I've heard, I was hearing rumors that they were gonna do a hand-drawn Super Metroid remake, like way back in the early stages of Switch. I'm still kind of open to that. To be
what
honest.
about hand drawn? Just give me the idea of Paper Metroid. What if it's RPG? They could do it. That'd be cool as hell.
They're not doing Paper Mario very well. What makes you think that they're going to do Metroid very well, like in that form? The words are hard. Honestly, like seriously, if they just go back to the roots, I think they'll do pretty well with Paper Mario, but they haven't. So what makes you think they're going to do a Paper Metroid pretty well?
Yeah, true. Metroid RPG. Give me. I need more Metroid.
So. But I think that's about wraps it up as far as what we want to talk about as far as a Metroid retrospective / opinion piece, essentially.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So-
Hopefully we see what 4 brings out. They're going to announce it on E3, or is it
They're probably going to
March?
show more, probably maybe in
March?
the spring,
Okay.
just to kind of show like a tease or something at a point to say, hey, we're not forgotten about it. But they'll probably really announce something big at E3 involving it.
Oh, I'm excited.
So we'll see. But I would like to thank you all for listening, and we will see you on the other side. Hey everyone, this is Paraka.
And Ghost.
I would like to say thank you for listening to our podcast.
If you like our content, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe and share our video with your friends.
You can also follow and support us on other social media such as Minds and Rumble. Links in the description below.